A busy community plaza hums with life on a warm afternoon. An overzealous cop stalks through the crowd, his eyes locking onto Marcus Thompson, Big Mark, lounging on a bench. The officer doesn't like what he sees. He strides over, chest puffed, and tells Mark to get lost. Says he doesn't fit in. Mark doesn't flinch. He stays put, cool as steel. That's when it happens. The cop snaps, swings his baton hard, and cracks it across Mark's back. The crowd freezes. But this isn't just any guy. Big Mark's no pushover, and that cop just stepped into a world of trouble. He has no clue what's coming. The payback's gonna sting. You don't want to miss this. Hit that subscribe button, smash like, and stick around. This story is about to explode. Harper Square pulses with life on a golden Saturday afternoon. Street musicians pluck their guitars, filling the air with gritty riffs. Kids dart around a splashing fountain, their laughter bouncing off the cobblestones. Food truck vendors holler out, tempting the crowd with sizzling burgers and fries. In the thick of it all, Marcus Thompson, Big Mark, sits quiet on a weathered bench. He's soaking up a slice of peace, a rare breather from the storm of his week. Faded baseball cap pulled low, windbreaker hanging loose. He melts into the everyday faces drifting by. He's not here to flex or shine. After grinding it out coaching Little League, he just wants to kick back. The plaza hums around him, alive and loud. But something's brewing. Trouble's about to crash his calm. Stick around. This is going to get wild. The camera pans across Harper Square, where Officer Wade Larson stalks the scene. He's a hard-edged figure, boots hitting the ground with purpose, his walk screaming duty laced with a cocky edge. This guy's got a rep around town. He sizes up everyone, quick to judge who fits in this upscale slice of the city. If you don't match his playbook, you're on his radar. He loves that badge, feeds off the power it hands him. His eyes sweep the plaza, cold and sharp, then lock on Big Mark. There he is, just sitting on a bench, lost in his own world. Larson doesn't like it. Something flips in his head, fast and fierce. He's already made up his mind. Mark doesn't belong. You can almost hear the gears grinding in his skull, twisted and dark. His hand tightens on the baton, knuckles whitening. His brows sink low, suspicion burning. Trouble's loading up. This is about to blow. The scene crackles with tension at Harper Square. Officer Wade Larson prowls the cobblestone, his boots clicking like a ticking clock. He's got that vibe, control freak with a badge, always on edge. Under his breath, he mutters low and rough, wondering what a guy like that is doing here, dressed so casual. Big Mark sticks out in his mind. That faded windbreaker, cap pulled low. It doesn't jive with Larson's tight-ass picture of who belongs in this buzzing plaza. To him, if you're not shopping or chowing down, you're suspect. He zeroes in, steps heavy with intent. The air thickens as he closes the gap. No small talk, no courtesy. He barks out a command, sharp and cold, telling Mark what's what. You're sitting here? Not on my watch. Move it. Big Mark blinks, caught off guard. His chill vibe falters just for a beat. He tilts his head, cap shadowing his face. Then those eyes lift, steady, deep, like they've seen it all. Surprise mixes with a flicker of irritation. He's not fazed, though. His voice rolls out, calm but firm, laced with a quiet power that hits you in the chest. He's just soaking up the plaza, he says. No harm, no foul. His words land heavy, like a rock splashing into a still pond. Ripples spread. The bench turns into a battleground. Silence hangs thick. Something's about to snap. Stick with us. This is going to heat up. The camera lingers on Officer Larson. His face twists into a nasty smirk, lips curling with pure scorn. He's got that smug edge, like he owns the plaza. He sizes up Big Mark and doesn't hold back. He mutters something cutting, tossing out people like you with a venom that lands like a sucker punch. Mark feels it, right in the gut. Larson leans in, voice dripping with disdain. "This ain't your spot to kick back all day," he spits. "Get moving." His tone's meant to shrink Mark down, brush him off like dirt. Veins bulge in his neck, pulsing with barely checked anger. He glares hard, daring Mark to blink. The air's heavy now, crackling between them. Mark's cool starts to crack. His eyebrow arches, sharp and curious. Those eyes snap up, locking onto Larson. They're steady, piercing, like a hawk zeroing in. A flicker of irritation dances across his face, just a twitch at the corner of his mouth. He fires back, calm but pointed. "People like me? What's that supposed to mean?" Each word's tight, edged with defiance. He's not backing down, not some punk to shove around. Larson's temper flares. His grip on the baton tightens, knuckles going white. You can feel the violence buzzing, like static before a storm. He's a spring wound too tight, ready to pop. He snaps at Mark, voice jagged and bitter. "Don't play smart with me," he growls. He's losing it, unraveling fast. Then he lays it down hard. "I'm ordering you. Get up, get out." His baton flicks fast, a cheap intimidation trick. It's a bully move, pure and simple. Mark doesn't budge. The plaza holds its breath. This is about to blow wide open. Stay tuned. This showdown's just getting started. The camera holds tight on Big Mark. He's rock solid, unshaken, staring down trouble like it's nothing. His stance screams cool, feet planted, eyes steady. He brushes off the heat like it's a fly buzzing around. His voice cuts through, smooth and even. He tells Larson straight up he's not breaking any laws. Says he's got every damn right to park his ass right here. It's quiet, but it carries weight. A steel backbone that doesn't budge. That defiance, it's loud without yelling. Larson can't stand it. His face twists, red flooding his cheeks like a volcano about to blow. Veins pop in his neck, throbbing with fury. His hand clamps the baton, turning it into a piece of his rage. He snarls across the plaza, voice guttural and raw, demanding to know if Mark's resisting him. It's a challenge, pure and unfiltered. He's itching to break Mark, to own this moment. Then it snaps. Larson moves fast, like a hawk swooping down. He swings that baton with everything he's got. It rips through the air, landing with a sickening crack on Mark's back. The hit's brutal, out of nowhere, wild with aggression. The sound echoes, a gut punch to the plaza. People freeze mid-step, weekend vibes shattered. Shock washes over them, eyes wide, mouths open. Hands scramble for phones, fumbling to record the mess exploding in front of them. Mark doesn't stay down. He rises slow, deliberate, like a titan waking up. His frame towers, shoulders broad, height hitting hard. It's subtle but seismic. The calm's gone. Now it's controlled fire. His dark eyes shift, locking onto Larson. They're steel now, sharp and dangerous, cutting through the chaos. You feel the power coiled in him, years of boxing grit simmering under the skin. The crowd senses it. Larson doesn't. This ain't over. It's about to flip. Hit that like button, subscribe. This showdown's just heating up. The scene tightens on Big Mark. His words drop heavy, each one loaded with edge. He warns Larson, voice low and rumbling, simmering with power held tight. He says it's a big mistake, and that quiet fury chills the air. His calm sharpens into something fierce, a laser-focused resolve. Fists clench, veins bulge, muscles flex, ready to roll. Larson's in over his head now. He started this, but Mark's size and skill tower over him. Larson doesn't see it. His arrogance oozes, thick and ugly. He sneers, face twisting into a cocky grin. Blind to the beast he's poked. He taunts Mark, voice dripping with sarcasm. What's he gonna do about it, huh? It's smug, clueless, like that badge in Baton make him untouchable. Big mistake. Mark doesn't bite back with words. His silence weighs heavy, thick with payback vibes. The air sparks, tension ready to blow. He steps forward, slow and sure, confidence radiating. He's a wall closing in, a living threat. He calls Larson out, voice booming deep, raw with anger. Does that badge mean you can hurt people for nothing? It's a gut punch, a damnation of Larson's power trip. Larson swings again, wild and sloppy, fury driving every move. It's messy, untrained. Mark's instincts snap on, pure boxer precision. His hand flashes, a blur of speed, snatching the baton midair. The crowd gasps, a wave of shock rippling out. The baton clatters to the ground, a hollow echo lost in the chaos. Mark's move is unreal, slick as hell, a masterclass in control. Larson's stunned, arrogance cracking. Mark looms larger now, a storm brewing in his frame. The plaza holds its breath. This ain't just a scuffle, it's a reckoning. You're locked in now. Hit subscribe, smash that like. This clash is about to light up. The camera pulls tight on Big Mark. He towers over Larson, a mountain of muscle and grit. The gap between them screams loud now. Larson's outmatched. Mark's voice rolls out, cold and heavy. He growls a warning, says it's Larson's last chance. Each word lands hard, a final shot across the bow. He cautions him, voice low and deadly. Don't push this further. His eyes turn to ice, locking onto Larson with a stare that promises hell if he doesn't back off. Larson's too far gone, though. Ego's got him blind. He lunges, wild and desperate, like some trapped animal. Big Mark doesn't flinch. He's no prey. He's the predator here. Years in the ring honed him sharp. He moves smooth, sidesteps Larson's clumsy rush with footwork so clean it's almost art. One quick twist, and he hooks Larson's ankle. Down he goes, face smashing into the sun-baked cobblestone. The crash echoes, brutal and final. The crowd loses it. Cheers erupt, a tidal wave of noise crashing through the plaza. They're hollering, shouting that Larson had it coming. Their voices bounce off the walls, drowning out the music, the chatter, everything. It's electric, spreading fast, like a spark hitting dry grass. They're all in, roaring for justice finally sticking the landing. Big Mark stands tall, unbothered by the chaos. Their respect for him spikes, hitting the roof. Larson's sprawled out, eating dirt, while Mark's a damn legend in the making. The plaza pulses with raw energy. This ain't just a win. It's a statement. You're in deep now. Smash that like button, hit subscribe. This story's blazing hot, and it's far from over. The camera holds on Big Mark. He's a rock amid the roaring crowd, eyes fixed on Larson, crumpled and humbled in the dirt. The applause washes over him, but he doesn't blink. Larson's down, but not out. Shame flares hot, then fades fast. He scrambles up, defiance sparking fresh. Fury storms through him, a wildfire ready to lash out. He spins, fists clenched, ready to swing again. Then it shifts. Two more cops barrel in, boots hammering the cobblestone. They skid to a stop, eyes wide, caught off guard. Big Mark looms over Larson, a giant unfazed, and it hits them hard. Their brains scramble, piecing it together. This guy just took Larson apart, effortless, clean. Shock twists their faces, almost comical. Then it clicks, like lightning cracking the sky. They know him. This ain't just some dude. It's Marcus Thompson, the local boxing king, the guy who mentors kids. One cop's jaw drops. He mutters, stunned, asking if that's really Marcus Thompson. His voice shakes, disbelief dripping through. His hand slides off his holster, too floored to move. Larson's still raging, pride battered, body trembling. He snaps out of it, catching their stares. He barks, demanding who this guy is, confusion tangling his gruff words. His eyes bounce between them and Mark, unease crawling up his spine. The other cops don't answer, just gawk. It's a wild twist, a punch they didn't see coming. Mark stands tall, unbothered, a legend in the flesh. Larson's lost, floundering in the mess he made. The plaza buzzes, electric with the reveal. This is no ordinary brawl. It's a game changer. You're hooked now. Hit like, subscribe. This story's about to flip the script. The frame shifts. A new cop steps up, cool and steady, taking the reins. He's a sharp contrast to Larson's chaos. His voice softens, laced with respect, as he turns to Big Mark. He calls him Mr. Thompson, says it with a nod of awe. Are you okay? We didn't know you were here. His stance screams deference. He knows he's facing a local legend. Larson's world starts to crumble. His face twists, a grimace of pure shock, as the truth slams into him. He sputters, voice thick and lost. What? This guy's somebody big. It's a desperate jab, exposing how blind he's been. The second cop's had enough. He wheels on Larson, eyes blazing with contempt. His voice bites, snapping hard. He's not just big, he growls. This is Marcus Thompson, one of the most respected cats in this city. He's lifted up kids, inspired everyone. And you? You jumped him like a damn fool. Fury crackles in every word, righteous and raw. He stands firm by Mark, a rock against Larson's reckless mess. Larson's tough guy act folds fast, crashing like a flimsy house of cards. Panic floods in, washing away his swagger. He stammers, voice cracking. I didn't know, he pleads, clawing for a way out. It's weak, a far cry from the bravado he strutted minutes ago. His hands twitch, nervous, grasping at thin air. He's drowning in his own screw-up. Big Mark cuts through it all, cool as ice. His voice lands sharp, a blade slicing the silence. You didn't even try to figure it out, he says. It's brutal, clear, a call-out that stings deep. The plaza hums, tension thick as tar. Larson's unraveling, exposed. Mark stands tall, unshaken, a hometown hero schooling a punk. Power's flipped in now. This ain't just a bust, it's a wake-up call. You're in it now. Hit like, subscribe. This showdown's about to drop jaws. The camera zeroes in on Big Mark. He stands tall, unshaken. He lays it out cold. He tells Larson he sized him up wrong, judged him off some half-assed hunch, treated him like dirt. That's on you, he says, not me. His words hit hard, a quiet power rolling off him, demanding respect without flexing. The air shifts. The senior officer steps forward, all authority, a lion ready to roar. He turns to the crowd, voice booming, thick with justice. He calls out Officer Larson, eyes drilling into his stunned face. You're under investigation now, he declares. Misconduct. Hand over your badge and gun. It's rock solid, no room to squirm. The crowd's buzzing, locked on the drama, nodding as Larson's world crumbles. Larson's jaw drops. He tries to fight back, scrambling to save his skin. His voice cracks, desperation spilling out. The senior officer ain't having it. He cuts him off fast, hands slicing the air. We've got eyes on this, he growls. Witnesses, video. You're busted. His anger flares, voice rough and hot. You stepped way out of line, and this force doesn't play that. Badge and gun. Now. It's a command that lands like a hammer. Larson's done. His fight drains out, shoulders slumping under the weight of that smackdown. He fumbles, hands shaky, giving it up. The crowd hums louder, savoring the takedown. Mark's still there, steady as steel, a quiet giant watching justice roll in. Larson's badge clinks as it hits the ground, a dead-end sound. This ain't just a bust, it's a reckoning. The plaza's alive, pulsing with the wind. You're in deep now. Smash like, hit subscribe. This story's dropping bombs. The scene erupts. Larson's hauled off, head low, flanked by cops like a busted prizefighter. Disgrace clings to him, heavy and thick. The crowd explodes, cheers crashing through the plaza like a victory wave. It's pure triumph, raw and loud. Big Mark steps up, center stage, facing the sea of Harper Square faces. Humility mixes with gratitude in his eyes. He speaks, voice warm and real, thanking them for having his back. The words land soft but strong. His gaze sweeps the crowd, connecting, pulling them in. He shifts gears, tone firming up. This ain't about me, he says, belief ringing clear. It's about fighting unfairness, standing tall against crap like this. Nobody should take what Larson dished out today. Not a soul, famous or not. We've all got to push for better, he urges. Call out the power trippers who cross the line. It's on us, together. His voice booms, a call to arms wrapped in heart. The crowd feels it deep. His words spark something fierce. They roar louder, voices spiking, a wall of support slamming through the air. It's electric, unstoppable. His simple truth cuts straight to the bone, igniting fire in their eyes. Determination flares up, glowing hot with hope and grit. They're all in now, fists pumping, faces lit. Mark stands there steady, a quiet force who just flipped the game. The plaza pulses, alive with their energy. Larson's gone, but this moment's huge. It's more than a win. It's a stand. The air's thick with purpose. You're part of this now. Hit that like button, smash subscribe. This ain't just a story, it's a movement kicking off right here. The camera follows Big Mark, cutting through the crowd. His steps are steady, proud, a man who owns the moment. The plaza buzzes, still riding the high of his win. Then she breaks through. A little girl, eyes wide, clutching a crumpled flyer from his boxing clinic. All lights her up, pure hero vibes radiating. She stammers, asking if he'll sign it, voice trembling with giddy excitement. Mark's tough edges melt. He flashes a soft smile, nodding easy. He kneels, big frame shrinking down to her level, warmth spilling out. He says, "Sure thing, kiddo." Voice gentle, wrapping her in calm. He asks her name, simple and real, like fame doesn't touch him. It's a bridge, closing the gap between a legend and a starry-eyed kid. Her grin explodes, uncontainable, as his pen scratches across the flyer. It's a keepsake now, gold for years to come. Her dad steps up, voice thick with gratitude. He thanks Mark for standing tall today, says it's bigger than just his girl. Everyone who saw this felt it, he adds, relief and respect shining through. His eyes lock with Mark's, a quiet salute to a stand-up guy. Mark tips his head, taking it in. He gets it, the weight of being more than muscle. He speaks, voice low but loaded. It ain't just about me, he says. It's about everyone. Fighting for fairness, holding up respect for all. That's real leadership, he insists, words carrying truth that sticks. The crowd fades back, soaking it in. Mark turns, ready to roll. The late afternoon sun flares, painting his silhouette strong against the plaza. He strides off, a titan in motion, leaving echoes of grit and heart. This ain't just a rap, it's a spark. The kid clutches her flyer. Dad nods proud. You're in this now. Hit like subscribe. Mark's stories lighting fires.